This is Matt Walsh with your Minute with the Mayor for Wednesday, May 13th. In the first 7 weeks of COVID in Pottawatomie County, we had a total confirmed case count of 31 individuals. After yesterday's 6 new additional confirmed cases, just the last 2 weeks, we have almost tripled that number of confirmed cases, which now sits at 91. While as a percentage of the population that number is small, it is exponential growth, and I'll let you determine what those numbers mean to you. Currently, 41 individuals are self-isolating. 3 have been hospitalized. This is the most at any one single time. 1 has moved outside of the county. 2 have died, and 44 individuals have recovered. Also on Facebook, I've noticed there have been recent questions about confirmed diagnoses at our food processing facilities. Data for individuals confirmed positive are reported where they live and not where they work. And so those that wonder why our numbers aren't reflecting numbers that they've seen at local packing plants, that's because many of those people live in Omaha. These are unprecedented times. In these unprecedented times, in history, when a catchphrase becomes common nomenclature, it seems like everyone begins using the same few words to capture a common moment. These are unprecedented times. Are they? The Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 was the deadliest pandemic in the history. It infected an estimated 500 million people worldwide, which was about 1/3 of the planet's population. The first wave of the 1918 pandemic occurred in the spring and was generally mild. The sick experienced typical flu symptoms such as chills, fever, and fatigue. Most recovered after several days, and the number of deaths reported was low. However, a second highly contagious wave of influenza appeared with a vengeance in the fall of that same year. Victims died within hours or days of developing symptoms. Their skin turned so blue in color that it was difficult to identify their race. Flu victims bled from their eyes and from their ears, while their lungs filled with fluid that ultimately caused them to suffocate. The Spanish flu did not originate in Spain, but news coverage of it did. During World War I, Spain was a neutral country with free media that covered the flu outbreak from the start. Because Spanish newspapers published daily reports of the outbreak that were read around the world, the disease became known as the Spanish flu. Troops moving around the world in crowded ships and trains helped spread the killer virus. More U.S. soldiers died in World War I from the 1918 flu pandemic than were actually killed in battle during the war. The flu was also detrimental to the economy. In the United States, businesses were forced to shut down because so many employees were sick. Officials in some communities imposed quarantines, ordered citizens to wear masks, shut down public places including schools, churches, and theaters. People were advised to avoid shaking hands and to stay indoors. Libraries put a halt to lending books, and regulations were passed banning spitting in public. Without a vaccine or an approved treatment plan, it fell to local mayors and health officials to improvise plans to safeguard their citizens. With pressure to appear patriotic at wartime, and with the censored media downplaying the disease's spread, many made tragic decisions. Although the death toll attributed to the Spanish flu is often estimated at 20 to 50 million worldwide, other estimates run as high as 100 million victims, around 3% of the world's population. The exact numbers are impossible to know due to a lack of medical record keeping in many places. Since 1918, there have been several other influenza pandemics, although none as deadly. A flu pandemic in 1957 to 1958 killed around 2 million people worldwide, including some 70,000 people in the United States. A pandemic from 1968 to 1969 killed approximately 1 million people, including some 34,000 Americans. More than 12,000 Americans perished during the H1N1 or swine flu pandemic that occurred from 2009 to 2010. Winston Churchill famously said, "Those who fail to learn from history are condemned to repeat it." That's your Minute with the Mayor.